You're listening to Happy Hour Hustle, a bi-weekly podcast featuring the musings and witty remarks of the one and only Kim Bodie. We can promise at least 2 terrible jokes out of Kim and at least 10 minutes of incredible thought leadership from some amazing and influential guests. So grab a glass of iced red wine and join us for a wild ride. Here's Kim.
Ready?
I guess I should stop eating.
Let me set up my snacks.
Well, welcome everyone to another edition of Happy Hour Hustle. Our topic today is self-care, although I don't really like to call it that. It's kind of cliche. It's really more talking about wellness at home, taking care of you, ensuring that in these very uncertain times that you don't get stuck in a rut. I think a lot of us are feeling pretty low energy-wise, which is actually a super normal thing, even though you maybe don't shower, maybe aren't brushing your hair, are doing minimum. Because of the stress that's kind of going on, subconsciously our bodies are processing that without us really even knowing. And that actually can really kind of slow you down, like physically and mentally. So, but I'm not the expert here. I do have someone on the phone that knows things. So we're welcoming Chelsea, who is our creative lead, also a yoga teacher, and
Yes,
is also the one who runs all of our mindfulness stuff in the office. So maybe give a little overview of you and how you kind of got into yoga, because I find that interesting.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm Chelsea. Kim got me on the horn.
Mm-hmm. It was hard to schedule her in, but
yes, as Kim said, I'm the creative lead at A34. So I handle all of the creative stuff for us and all of our clients. And I work closely with pretty much all of our team members to make sure that all of that stuff gets done. So yes, I'm also a yoga teacher. I got certified a couple years ago, and I got into yoga because I have scoliosis. I grew up with scoliosis. It's not anything super serious where I ever needed to wear a brace or anything, but it does cause some back pains, especially if I'm sitting down for a long period of time. So in high school, I went through that a lot, where I was sitting down pretty much 8 hours a day at my desk and in classes and stuff. So I had heard that yoga was good for that. And I was in an internship in Colorado, and out there yoga is pretty huge. So I was trying a lot of new things when I was living there for my internship. So I decided to try it out, and I really liked the physical aspect of it to start. And then I ended up really liking the spiritual aspect of it as well. And yeah, then I was hooked.
And a lot of people practice, like I'm one who kind of dabbles, if you will, but not a lot of people teach. And talk a little bit about the process to kind of become a teacher, because it's pretty extensive.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize how extensive and expensive it is. I was saving up for a while for it. When I was living in Chicago, it was probably I've been with you for almost 3 years. So
yeah, 3, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a while now, but I decided when I was living in Chicago, I was like, the next place that I move to, I want to do a teacher training because I felt like I was already so far along in my practice. Although you don't have to be far along to become a yoga teacher, you just have to be passionate about it. But I was just kind of trying to figure out that next step of my yoga practice. And I don't know, I decided that the next step was to teach it and to spread it. So I guess you kind of have to figure out if that is something that you're passionate about to make that leap, because it is not only a money commitment, but it is also a huge time commitment. So I did a program that was 3 times a week, and then on Sunday, 2 times during the week, and then on Sundays it was like 5 hours. So the total is required to total 200 hours of learning and practicing. So it took about 3 months total to complete it, 3 times a week for 3 months. And yeah,
that's why we feel she's qualified to lead our mindfulness activities, because of the 200 hours she's put in. Otherwise, I mean, it wouldn't work out.
So I teach 4 times a week at a studio called Kula, and that's actually who I was trained by. So it's really cool that we all kind of have similar teaching styles there at the studio. But yeah, we do midweek mindfulness on Wednesdays every other week in the office, and it is awesome to just kind of reset from the day, or in the middle of the day, I should say, rather. And yeah, take our minds.
A lot of it's been kind of like breathing exercises, meditation, all stuff I thought was a bunch of whatever. Like, yeah, a bunch of, what is that? I was going to say a bunch of
hoopla.
Hoopla, yeah. I was like, is that even, like, what does that even mean? What does that word even mean? It doesn't matter.
Yes, you thought it, but now you've converted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to a certain extent, but I have tried like actual meditation myself or by myself, and we'll get into that. But first, we have some yoga trivia.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready? First question I'm going to ask though is, what is your favorite yoga pose?
I have a category. I would say my favorite pose is any arm balance. So an arm balance is any pose that you're balancing on your hands to distribute your weight so that the rest of your body is lifted off of the ground. So a lot of people know a popular one as crow pose, but there's tons and tons. And I love to host arm balance workshops because I think they're so empowering and so fun. And it's just poses that you really have to work your way up to get because they're super challenging. So yes, any arm balance would be my favorite pose.
What does the word yoga mean in Sanskrit?
Oh, shoot.
By the way, guys, we have to tell you that we're re-recording this podcast because Erica screwed up the sound on the first one. So this is all stuff Chelsea has been asked before, but she clearly didn't keep any of it in her head. Yes. So
no, I was just trying to act like I haven't already recorded this and completely embarrassed myself the first time because I completely forgot what it meant. But now I'll never forget. And it means union in Sanskrit, and Sanskrit is the language that yoga is in. So all of the pose names have their own Sanskrit name. It's just kind of to keep the tradition of it alive.
What's your favorite flow?
My favorite
I'm really surprised is that a question people ask? I don't know.
Well, I think people reference the word flow as like the lengths of poses. So a flow could be really anything. I have lots of favorites, but the classes that I teach are called Power Vinyasa. So you link each pose with your breath. And I really like that style because you can get a little bit more of a workout than like a more restorative or yin class. So I guess my favorite flow would be a vinyasa class.
Great. None of us on this podcast know what that is, but we're listening right now. But now we just feel like we have to go Google it. So one of the reasons we wanted to have a podcast talking about, like being almost, it sounds so cheesy to say it, but kind of in tune with your body, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's not a topic that I typically would, want to talk about, but I have found a lot, especially like, as people are transitioning or have transitioned from working within an office setting to working from home, there's a lot of change there. I mean, we were talking about it the other day. It's like you get up, maybe you shower, maybe you put on a bra, probably not, but you then roll right into, hopping on your computer, whether that's, at a certain place in your house or whatever. And I think that we always talk work-life balance. There's not really that existing when you're not ever leaving your house. So if you don't set some boundaries and if you don't like take breaks or, almost embrace the fact that like, there's no longer a typical work day. And there's no reason that a work day can't change based off of what what is happening, within our environment at the time. So maybe talk a little bit about like something you've learned from this social isolation, and then maybe something that you found especially difficult, Chelsea.
I think that this has been super, super hard for a lot of people just because it's something that no one is used to. I mean, even if you do work normally from home, it's still an adjustment with the social distancing and being on lockdown, if you will, because you can't really go out and leave your house and go take breaks like at Target or something. But yeah, I think something that I've found really helpful is to not only create a space in your house dedicated to your work environment, but to get up and step away from that when the time is necessary. Take breaks in between your projects, I guess. Take a lunch break, go outside, get some fresh air, take a walk. I think has been really good and helpful, at least for me, to kind of separate the work from the at-home life because I don't have the office to go to. So,
Well, and I think it's especially hard for people that consider themselves extroverted because you don't have, besides like maybe if you're living with someone, you have a roommate or maybe you have a significant other. I mean, you don't really interact with other people, unless it's like a Zoom meeting, which we found that we are doing a ton of. But I like I think one of the things I've found that's really been helpful to me is I do have a dedicated space in my house where I work from. And I've set it up, and I actually set it up like several weeks before all of this happened, obviously not knowing this was going to happen, but just because I knew like when I was working from home, I did need to set like some boundaries. Like this is like the office I have that's okay. You work there, great. But when you step outside that door, that's when you're interacting with, the husband or, actually like doing things that are not specifically focused just on work. And for me as a business owner, that was a incredibly needed because I don't think that I think work-life balance is bullshit. I don't think that really exists, but I think that I also know that I have to set boundaries. Otherwise, everything else in my life is affected. And so I think this isolation has been especially hard on a lot of people, whether they're, extroverted, whether they live alone or whatever it is, because you just feel like you can't get away and that can weigh on you.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's helpful to like come up with things to do, some things that either you never had time to do before or things that you've been wanting to try. It's been really awesome to see. I've just seen like friends on social media who have been going out of their comfort zones and doing things that they wouldn't normally do or trying something new. And I think that that's really helpful to kind of get out of that mindset of like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck at home, and kind of not forget about it, but like put your energy elsewhere to take up that time rather than worrying about it. I think.
Well, and I think what's
really
important, well, I mean, I've been riding my Peloton, which I've had for over a year and have used like maybe a few times.
So proud of you.
Thank you. And I just found that I am going to get extremely fat if I don't do anything and I continue to snack.
Yeah, the snacking has been real.
Yeah, everyone's going to gain weight. We're all going to come out of this wearing sweatpants and never putting real jeans on again, but that's fine.
People have been joking about it being the COVID-15.
COVID-19 that we're gaining.
COVID,
yeah.
COVID-19 instead of
So the freshman 15. Yeah. But I would say, I want people to know too, if you choose to do nothing during this time, that's okay. Some people are like, I'm going to learn a new language and I'm going to like, suddenly I'm going to become a weightlifter or like an artist or whatever. And like, there's also so much pressure to like use this time. Like you have to learn new. And it's like, no, you don't. Yeah. Do what you need to do.
Oh, for
like
sure.
cope how you need to cope. I was going to become a raging alcoholic, so I needed to do something. And so, that's really just for my own health. But if you want to during this time, do it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Like if you want, you can just relax and watch Netflix and watch every show on Netflix if you wanted to. I think there's a good healthy balance that you can find between like absolutely doing nothing and making yourself go crazy, just thinking about the situation versus I'm going to do everything and wear myself out. I think there's a good balance of the in between.
I've really been enjoying naps. Naps are
Yeah.
fantastic. I mean, like, I don't know why people don't do that more often. Like,
We're gonna have
I mean,
to
in
install a
Spain,
nap
they have a
area.
siesta. Why don't we just do that here? Like,
Yeah.
we're all working from home. Just curl up on your floor. You'll be fine.
We're gonna have to install a nap area in the office when we return.
I mean, one of our couches is a futon, so maybe that was my plan all along and nobody's
Yeah.
caught on yet. So I would say too, like, one of the reasons we're recording this podcast in April is it is Stress Awareness Month. And while you may think I'm working from home, what do I really have to be stressed about? There's a lot of people that are collecting unemployment right now. There's a lot of people that are out of work. There's small businesses that are going under. There's people that are getting sick. There's, you know, people that are dying, and like that weighs on you. And like, while we all feel like we're helpless and we can't do anything, being home and taking care of yourself is what, you know, really is required of you at this time and is so needed. And I think the one thing I want people to make sure that they don't do is isolate themselves. And, you know, make sure you're reaching out to your friends. Be writing, like I've been writing notes like it's going out of style, you know, like send cards to people, like send packages. Like I sent Josh out to deliver cookies all around the neighborhood because, you know, I wasn't going to do it, but it's fine. But, you know, like that, I think that kind of stuff, if you can help turn somebody else's day around, and I think that in turn is only going to improve your mental health. And I think it's important, like Chelsea, you've been doing something regularly with your friends too, utilizing Zoom. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I think that it's super ironic that this month that this has been happening has been Stress Awareness Month. It's almost like the universe is like giving us the ultimate test to slow down and kind of like dig deep in what makes you happy and what like gives you energy, and just kind of like better yourself during this time. But yeah, me and my friends have been doing Zoom calls, and it's really funny because I have a group of 7 of us that have been friends for like 10-15 years. And we have been Zooming so much. And it's funny because we didn't ever talk this much before this. And so we were like, wow, this is really given us another level of like bringing us together. But also it's kind of a disappointment that it took us this long to
It's like a pandemic. Yeah.
So in a way we were disappointed, but also it's brought us together, and on the bright side, it's been really good. And not only
you said Tyler's doing yoga now.
Yeah. Yes. He's trying something new. He's been doing yoga with me, which is awesome. He would have never done it before. So I think again, it's so cool to see like all of these people trying something new and doing things to better themselves, and what makes them happy. So yeah. And another thing that me and my friends have been doing is, not only digitally, but one of my friends sent a little booklet that is our little quarantine booklet, and we are all writing a little something in the page and then sending it on to the next friend, and it's like a traveling booklet, and it's just another way to kind of like bring some positivity in this time.
I like that. That's better than all the stupid recipe emails I keep getting, like a bad chain letter. Like, here, put a recipe and send it to the next 2 people. I was like, I don't want your recipe, and I'm not going to bug somebody else with a recipe. Like, take it off your list.
I keep getting that too, and then I like keep forgetting about it because I'm like, I'm going to go figure out what recipe to put, and then I forget about it.
It's like those chain letters where it's like, do this or else, and you're always like, or else what?
Or
what's gonna happen?
Like,
like, who's
or else your boyfriend
me?
is gonna break up with you.
Oh no. And then they're like, if you're not going to participate, please let us know. And I'm like, well, that just makes me an asshole. But
mine
I'll just not respond.
That.
Oh, mine have. And I'm just like, I've gotten 2. So somebody's waiting for a recipe from me. Several people that will never be getting it. So
I've gotten like 3 or 4 of them. Oh, I feel horrible now.
Well, don't feel bad because I'm also completely ignoring them. You could try the Google where recipes are plentiful. Yes. So go for that. I also want to talk a little bit about like Quiplash, because I think people should know about this game because it's cool. And you can play it via Zoom. And then there's the other one. What is that called? House guest?
House Party.
House Party.
That's the
I might not get that right.
House Party is an app, but
Yes.
Quiplash is a game that you can download that we've been playing, and I downloaded it on my computer. So we played twice already with our teammates, with our team members. Twice already with our team members, and Tyler and I, my fiance, have been playing like every weekend with the same two other couples every weekend since we've been quarantined.
Are you guys keeping like a running tally of who's winning? You're too nice to do that.
No,
Totally
we
would.
should though.
Yeah.
I didn't even
I'd be like, I'm
that.
kicking everyone's ass. No.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Well,
I have been winning a lot too. So, but yeah, it's like Cards Against Humanity, but you can
create the answers.
Yeah, create whatever answer that you want. So it's really
Which
fun.
is kind of more pressure because you have to be super clever.
It's
and then
it's a little bit more pressure with that, as well as they pick two answers to go up against one another, and then everyone's the judge rather than Cards Against Humanity. There's just one judge that you're tailoring to. So it's a little bit more pressure that there's everyone who's a judge.
And House Party is an app, and you can do like trivia. You can do like the Ellen game. What is that like?
It's like a video
heads up
FaceTiming app. But I find it interesting that if you know that some of your that you're friends with on the app are FaceTiming together, then you can pop in.
You totally can crash the party.
Like an actual house party.
I've done it. It's fantastic.
I've done
all of a sudden you're just there.
On the app. I've done it on the app and also in real life.
Yeah. I was just really, it's just like going to a party you're not really invited to.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why wasn't I invited? Look, I'm here anyway.
Like, hi.
Yeah,
I'm here.
I did that the other day. That was fantastic. You also can set your room as private, but it's like no one realizes that or does it. So do it. Do it tonight. Do it today. Whenever you watch this or listen to this, you need to go and download that app and then just start crashing into parties.
It's funny
just
because
randomly.
I just started hearing about this app again, but me and my friends used it I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. We used it because it became really popular when it first came out, and then it kind of died down. And now just with all of the video chat options.
Kind of like Zoom. Like Zoom like everyone's Zooming.
Yeah. I watched a video that was like a girl 6 months or in January talking to herself in the future. And she's like, so you're going to need to invest in Zoom. Yeah. Like, is that the video conferencing app?
Also loungewear. We should give people our tips on loungewear and then our reading material. You have good tips on loungewear.
Yeah, I bought a few joggers from Airy. People hate Airy because it used to be like kind of
kiddish,
young. Kind of high schooly, but they completely rebranded, and they're all about body empowerment and like different body types and girl power. So I love them as a brand.
And they have really good bras and bralettes. Not that you have to wear a bra this time. I mean,
bralette.
Really? Bralettes. Did I say it right? Bralettes?
I say bralette.
Bralette? That just sounds fancy. What are you, like French? Like
bralette. It reminds me of like a brawl.
Like a brawl. Yeah. I will brawl you for wearing a bra. I don't know. Now
bralette.
We've just yeah, bralette. Bralettes. Whatever. They're there and you can buy them if you want them.
We should totally do a podcast on how different people from different places say things.
Pronounce things. Yes.
That could be a whole entire podcast.
Like I say milk, like it's got an E in it, like it's drawn out, which apparently not a lot of people do. Yeah. Milk. Yeah.
I say milk, but I've heard people say milk.
Yeah.
Anyway, self-care.
Self-care. And also Target has good stuff. And I ordered a bunch of stuff from Old Navy, which they actually are available. You can do curbside pickup there.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
I knew that. Well, I've done before pre-COVID. I did some pickup for Old Navy. Like you could just order online and pick it up. They always
Which is awesome. Just bring it out to my car. Throw it in the back.
Yeah. Okay. But Old Navy, has surprisingly nice loungewear. Old Navy does.
Who? Old Navy. Yeah, it does. I was really impressed. I'll let you know. Maybe I'll model it in a blog. Who's to say? Probably not. Okay,
I
so
think
what
you
are you
should.
reading right now?
Right now, I'm reading a book called Never Let Me Go. I can't remember if it's Never Let Me Go or You Go, but I'm not too far into it, but it was a recommendation from one of my yoga teacher friends. And so far, it's about a girl who was in a
Cult?
no,
What?
not a cult.
What? I'm just trying to guess. Fill in the blank.
A school, not homeschool, a school that's like,
Orphanage.
or no,
Boarding school.
boarding
You
school,
had
yes.
you
I
couldn't
know,
figure
we
this out
talked
last
about
time
this
either.
the other day, and I couldn't
Yeah.
remember what it was called.
Yeah.
It talks about her life living in a boarding school that was a little bit, just a little conservative, and so when they got out of it, they just kind of find out a lot of things, and apparently there's a secret. So I'm curious to see how it ends. I've heard so many good things about it. And then I also bought Where the Crawdads Sing, which is a super
You're kind of
popular
late
book
to the
right
party
now.
on that one.
I know. I've been wanting to read it, and now I just feel like this is the perfect time. And I just got a new book in the mail from Kim Bodie called Wolfpack. Is it Abby Wambach or Bach?
Yeah, Wambach. Well, I say Wambach. Maybe
Wrote
it's Wambach.
it.
Apparently, I pronounce it wrong. So
Kim got these all for us, and
yeah,
I'm so excited to read it, and it seems like a super easy read.
Oh, it is. I read it in like less than an hour. It's only like it's 93 pages, and it's super cool because she talks about how my favorite quote in it is about you were never Little Red Riding Hood, you were always the wolf. Meaning that there's a wolf inside of all of us, and society will tell you who you need to be, and you need to ignore that and be who you are meant to be. And it's kind of a leadership book, but it's like you're just like, you end it and you're like, yeah, hell yeah. So also she's like a badass soccer player, and I adore her. But then I also got her wife's book, Untamed, Glennon Doyle. And this is a #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. And so I think it is anyway, but, and this is a longer read, and it really talks about kind of her journey and how, she came into her own, but it took like a failed marriage. It took like, I mean, she's got 3 kids, and then, talks about how her and Abby met. And so that's interesting. And then another book I have is, Jen Hatmaker. It's called Fierce, Free, and Full of Fire. And I love her. I listen to her podcast, and she's hilarious on social media too. And so she's written a lot. And she speaks at a lot of conferences and stuff. But and then I got the other thing I've been encouraging people to do is to journal, because I think people should be writing about this time, because I think that's therapeutic too.
Yeah, I think that it's really cool that so many people are getting back into reading right now. And because I love to read, but I just feel like I never have time. So this is kind of, I'm forcing myself to at least read a chapter every day. But I think it's awesome that we have like all of these options.
It's either that or you spend like your screen time on your phone, and all of a sudden you're like 10 hours and you're like, oh my God. So it's like, put it down and read a book.
Yeah. I'm trying to stick to either self-help type books that are positive, or like fictional books that kind of get my mind off of all of this.
Not anything depressing, because
not anything depressing.
Yeah. Well, what is your one piece of advice before we wrap up about, taking care of yourself during this time?
I think my one piece of advice is kind of what I've been preaching this whole time, is just take advantage of this time for yourself, and really dig deep on what your needs and wants are. And if you want to try something new, go for it. That now is your time, or to do those things that you've been meaning to do and have been putting off, just to kind of get your mind off this. There's no need to overstimulate yourself with all of this news. Obviously you need to keep up to date, but not to overstimulate and get too much out of it, because no one knows what's actually going on, and like, it's just waiting it out. I also, my friend shared this quote today. It was like a picture of a billboard, and I thought it was really cool, and I thought I'd share it on this podcast. But it says, staying positive doesn't mean you have to be happy all the time. It means that even on hard days, you know that there are better ones coming. And I just thought that really hit what everyone's going through right now. Like, I know that it's good to stay positive, but also it's okay to not be okay, and just know that there are better days coming.
I think, and like you took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, take this time to like, I don't know, invest in you, do face mask or like, I don't know, whatever you feel like doing, but also don't feel like you have to. I mean, I've been watching, I don't watch a lot of TV, but I did finish the whole series Fleabag, which I thought was amazing. And, like, get into a Netflix series or, read a book, or don't read a book, play gin rummy on your phone, which I do a lot because I'm like an 80-year-old grandma, but whatever. But like, I think, and I guess the one thing I would encourage people to do is just write down your thoughts and know that no one else has to read them but you, whether you do it on your computer, whether you write it down in a notebook. But this is a time in our history that a lot of us won't ever ideally, none of us will ever experience again. But I think it would be interesting and will give you much needed perspective if in a year from now, when this is like, history to us, or like we're not even thinking about it, and you're having a bad day, go back and read what you wrote. Go back and remember this, because it could always be worse. And
Yeah.
I think out of all of this, I hope we all gain perspective of what's really, truly important in life. But yeah,
I hope people come out of this like kinder and more compassionate too. I just feel like this has made us all really realize like what's important in life. And check in on your friends and your family, especially those who are in that category of most susceptible to this. Because I feel like, just checking in, just like you said, making people feel good makes you feel good.
Oh, it totally does. It's kind of selfish on my end, but whatever. Well, I will say we do have a blog that kind of gives some tips on it as well. We also did a video on working from home, which is quite funny. And
I did a headstand.
Yeah, I made you do a headstand. That's my favorite move of yours, whether you like it or not. So, but I will say, like, reach out. Don't isolate yourself during this time. And just remember that perspective is a very, very unique thing that we will take out of this. And and if you're bored, listen to all our other podcasts, because they're just as entertaining as this one. So yeah. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Chelsea, you've officially been hustled, and everyone else, I will see you on the download.
See you on the download.